Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a very interesting story to bring to you. We're going to be talking about NATO and these supposed F-16 fighter jets that are going to Ukraine pretty soon. Okay, so this is NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, and he was in an interview recently, and he was basically talking about these F-16s going to Ukraine and in a way hinting or greenlighting Ukraine to use these F-16s to strike inside of Russia. So this is a very big deal, right? Because we've had a lot of reports. I've put out multiple warnings of like Dmitry Medvedev, their former president in Russia, coming out and saying if Ukraine attacks any of their like missile sites, that they would launch a nuclear attack on Ukraine. You know, major warnings coming out from Russia. And obviously, from the very beginning, Russia has never been okay with any attacks inside of their territory, which is very hypocritical, right? Because Ukraine is being attacked deep inside their territory. Why can they not attack back, right? Well, these F-16s can supposedly be used to attack inside of Russia. And we've already seen drone attacks, not really so much missile attacks, or we've seen artillery attacks inside of the Donetsk region that's currently occupied by Russia. But other than that, we've only seen drone attacks for the most part inside of Russia, like even hitting Moscow. Okay. So these F-16s being used inside of Russia is a major red flag for Russia. Okay. They came out a long time ago, way in the very beginning, when, you know, Biden was being asked, hey, can we get F-16s to Ukraine? By Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. And he was like, no way, you'll never get F-16s. There's no way we're going to do that. And Russia in the beginning was like, no, if you send F-16s to Ukraine, that's going to be a red flag. Well, now these F-16s are going to Ukraine, and like Russia's not really saying anything now. They're just kind of like, okay, send them over and we'll just shoot them down in a way. Well, now these jets can supposedly be used to strike deep in Ukraine. And here's this article here that says that the first Ukrainian F-16 pilots will be completing training as soon as May. So we're looking at here in the next couple months, these F-16s are going to start going to Ukraine. We're going to have like Denmark sending some, Netherlands, okay, probably the US will start sending some. They're going to have a bunch of these F-16s that they can use to fight back against Russia. And obviously right now, Ukraine needs whatever they can get. And if they had the F-16s right now, it would greatly give them an advantage, but they don't. They don't have them right now. So I want to get into this article here and let's talk about this. This is very interesting news. This is on the Kiev Post. So Stoltenberg hints Ukraine could use F-16 for strikes on military targets inside Russia. Stoltenberg mentioned Ukraine's allies' desire for an early F-16 deployment, stressing the jet's effectiveness hinges on pilot training and crew readiness. In an interview with Radio Liberty, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg stressed that each ally retains the autonomy to provide F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine, affirming Ukraine's right to self-defense, including striking legitimate Russian military targets beyond its borders. So see, striking deep inside Russian territory. Ukraine has actively pursued U.S.-made F-16 fighter jets to counter Russian air superiority. The United States approved the transfer of F-16s from Denmark and the Netherlands to Ukraine in August, pending completion of pilot training. Kiev had long sought to attain the fighters after heavy losses incurred by its Air Force, which flies primarily Russian aircraft. The U.S. F-16 has better combat capabilities than those operated by Ukraine. On the question of when Ukraine will be able to deploy these F-16s, Stoltenberg stated that it was not possible to determine. He reassured that Ukraine's allies all wish for their early deployment, emphasizing that the effectiveness of the F-16s will significantly depend on the training of pilots and preparedness of maintenance crews and support personnel. I think we have to listen to the military experts exactly when we will be able to be ready to, or when allies will be ready to start sending and delivering the F-16s, the NATO chief said. The sooner, the better. So they're going to be getting F-16s very soon, guys. Stoltenberg revealed that the decision to deliver F-16s to Ukraine would be left to each ally with differing policies. The war in Ukraine is a war of aggression, and Ukraine has the right to self-defense, including striking legitimate Russian military targets outside Ukraine, as cited by Stoltenberg in the Radio Liberty media outlet. He also highlighted the significance of Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny's death and the recent gains made by Russian forces on the battlefield, emphasizing the urgent need for NATO and its allies to rally behind Ukraine. I strongly believe that the best way to honor the memory of Alexei Navalny is to ensure that President Putin doesn't win on the battlefield, but that Ukraine prevails. So you see here, the West is really committed to this fight. They are going to stay in this fight for as long as it possibly takes. The only dangerous thing that's happening right now is the fact that this money is held up in Congress, and it doesn't look like it's going to get passed anytime soon. It may take a couple weeks or maybe longer for it to pass, or will it even pass at all? And if Ukraine does not get this funding, understand too that in order for these pilots to continue to be trained as well, this funding needs to get passed, because all of this money that Congress is holding up, it funds all these programs, all these training programs, all the weapons, it basically everything for Ukraine. The United States is funding majority of this war in Ukraine, probably 80% or more of this war. So anything that has to do with Ukraine fighting Russia is the United States backing. He pointed to the recent withdrawal of Ukrainian forces from Avdiivka following months of intense fighting as a clear indicator of the necessity for increased military support to prevent further Russian advancements. While discussing the $61 billion U.S. military aid package for Ukraine, the NATO chief noted that its progress had been stalled in the House of Representatives. However, he highlighted the proactive support from other nations such as Sweden, Canada, and Japan. So I know these countries have been stepping up lately. Sweden, Canada, and Japan. They've been sending, weaponry, drones, all kinds of stuff to Ukraine. So he went on to say, we are focused on the United States, but we also see how other allies are really stepping up and delivering significant support to Ukraine, Stoltenberg told the Radio Liberty. Denmark's transfer of 19 American-made F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine will take place in the second quarter of 2024. Once Ukrainian pilots have completed training, the Danish Defense Ministry said at the beginning of January. The Netherlands also announced F-16 transfers to Ukraine last August and is currently training Ukrainian pilots, but it has yet to say when the 42 planes will arrive. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky assured in his New Year address that the Ukrainian pilots were ready to fly the F-16s, which should be put into service this year. So we'll see, maybe by this summer or no later than fall, we'll be seeing F-16s inside of Ukraine. And again, this is just really crazy because towards the beginning of this war, anything to do with like long range attacks or anything like that were just completely pushed back against by the Biden administration. F-16s, long range missiles, things like that. And then if you notice, the further we went along in this war, when Ukraine continued to struggle and wasn't making any gains, that's when we started to see longer range missiles being sent to Ukraine. Now we've got attack jets going to Ukraine. This whole thing, like I just mentioned this in another video, how is this not a war yet? How is this still a special military operation? Like, no, this is war. This is really war. It's just moving at a really slow pace, but it's getting closer and closer and closer to a major event happening. Really think about this. Like, these F-16s going to Ukraine is major because now we're going to have bombing runs inside of Russia that these F-16s are going to be able to carry out. They're going to be dropping bombs all over the place inside of Russia. And how do you think Russia's going to react to that? Don't you think at some point, if Russia can't win in Ukraine and they get stalled out for too long, let's say for another year, 2 years or something like that, don't you think at some point that Russia's gonna do something crazy here? I would think they probably would at some point. I've been saying here that this war really determines it all, okay? It determines it all. And neither side wants to lose this war, even though this funding is being held up in Congress. Nobody wants to lose this war. The West doesn't want to lose, and Russia doesn't want to lose. But somebody here is going to lose. Who is going to lose? And I think regardless, whoever loses, whatever happens, maybe there won't even be a loser. Maybe it'll just go right to a major World War III conflict or potentially nuclear war, which is very possible. Okay? There's so many possibilities here with this war, and it's very possible something like that could happen. And with these F-16s going to Ukraine, this is only getting us that much closer to something really bad happening over there. And it could happen throughout the entire world. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring this to your attention because this is very dangerous what's happening here. We're going to have more attacks inside of Russia. And if we poke the bear enough, the bear's going to strike, right? Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you all in the next one. Take care and God bless.